Australian Muslim senator defends Iran's gender apartheid. I'm gonna lose my mind. Okay. Australian Senator Fatima Payman, has sparked outrage after defending Iran's treatment of women at an event accused of promoting Islamic Republic propaganda. Speaking at Western Sydney University, Payman dismissed Western criticism, claiming Iran is an incredible place where women have a voice and are involved in the democratic process. Payman said that she was merely correcting the narrative and encouraging Iranian women to share their version of events. Critics, however, see her statements as a dangerous whitewashing of Iran's brutal gender apartheid. Her remarks, broadcast by Iranian state run media, Press TV itself, this was on Press TV itself, my friends, were slammed as hypocrisy by the advocacy group, AUSIRAN, which is I guess, broadly supporting the opposition anti-regime local Australian organization, which condemned the event as, quote, flagrantly supporting the regime's misrepresentation of women's rights. The backlash was so fierce that New South Wales Minister for Women, Jodie Harrison, who had sent a video message for the event, issued a public apology for her involvement, admitting that it was ill considered. Um, there is so much to unpack here, but let's watch some of her statements itself. And to be clear, this was literally, look at the microphone held up. This is a clip literally from Press TV.
That microphone. Yeah, when that logo, guys, that makes me rage. I don't know if you guys understand what I think. Like a lot of people who follow Ukraine, when they see our, like, if you open a video file from the news from RT, the way they feel, I think I feel that whenever I know a lot of you, for example, in the chat, when you see the Al Jazeera logo, you get like, what the hell? And some people, when they see the RT logo, they're like, what the hell? This is, as an Iranian, this is the logo that makes me see red. Okay, so just for you, this is basically complete Islamic Republic propaganda, the Press TV sent. But yeah, go on, Susie.
Okay, let's play this video. Okay.
Okay, go ahead. You play.
Incredible place that Iran is, allowing for women to participate in the workforce, to ensure that they have a voice and their voices are heard. They're involved in the democratic process. Realities that we're not privy to living here and listening to the propaganda that we receive from very single-sided organisations with a specific agenda.
Organisers say the aim of the event was.
Hold on, one more time. Hold on, this was true.
They have a voice and their voices are heard. They're involved in the democratic process.
What democratic? Okay, this is not only unfair to women, this is unfair to men as well. Okay, because it is gender apartheid, but not because of this, because men are also not involved in the democratic process. There is no democratic process. I mean, this example is actually not a good example for gender apartheid, because both men and women are equally excluded for anything that could be called democratic in Iran. I don't know if I should explain this to people, how the so-called elections work in Iran.
No, you
But
should.
actually,
You should. You should.
all right. So, okay. So in Iran, we have the actual powers, which is Khamenei, the supreme leader, and the IRGC. And we have this illusion of democracy, which is people going out and voting for the parliament, which we call it the Majlis. You know how Israel calls its parliament Knesset? In Iran, they call the parliament Majlis, okay? And the president. The thing is that nothing the president, his cabinet, or the parliament can do to change a command or a decision made by either the IRGC or the supreme leader. For example, the current president that we have in Iran, the current, who's people call a reformist president, he made it clear 1,000 times before even the elections, and now even continuing now, that he has zero plans. You know how in different countries the people come and tell what their platform is and what their plans are, and he made it very clear that he does not need to give a plan, because his plan is just to do what the supreme leader says. The supreme leader, the president, has zero power in Iran. The parliament has zero power. The command comes from somewhere else. And some people may say, like, well, Armin, the supreme leader is chosen by a body, okay, that is chosen by the people. There's election. That is fucking bullshit. Because the people, okay, so we have, okay, I'm not going to get into details, but let me know if you want me to do a stream on that, showing you guys why the supreme leader being elected by the people is a fucking joke as well. Because the people that choose the supreme leader are, whether or not they can be chosen by the people, is chosen by a different group of people that is either handpicked by the supreme. So there's a group of people that are 12 people. 6 of them are chosen directly by the supreme leader. Another 6 are chosen by the head of the judiciary that is handpicked by the supreme leader. Okay, so basically the people, as an Iranian, if you go and elect the people that choose the supreme leader, the people that you can vote for are handpicked by people that are directly or indirectly picked by the supreme leader. So the supreme leader picks the people that pick the supreme leader. It's completely circular. Basically, the whole system is designed
It's rigged.
to, yeah, the whole system is designed to make people think that they have a choice, to signal to the world that they have a choice, but they have zero choice. And even the president, guys, and even the president and the parliament, even though they have no power, is still not enough, because the people who can be candidates are also picked by the people that the supreme leader has picked. So it's not like anybody could go become a candidate for presidency or the parliament. The supreme leader picks who you can vote for. It all comes down to an unelected group of people. That, so this is just a fake. People around the world think like, oh, they have elections, so this is democracy. No, this is a theocracy trying to convince the world that we are a democracy. It's not even, this is absolute black and white. It's not like they have a little bit of a democracy. Like, it's not a spectrum. It's absolutely zero democracy. Like, once you understand how the system works, it's actually, you have to give them credit, because it's the best attempt at looking like a democracy while being absolutely not a democracy. Like, it has actually worked around the world. Some people think, like, I mean, it worked with this woman. So
Well, and that's not even getting into the effect of election rigging. What
Yeah, and Carl is saying,
elections do happen.
Carl is saying, why even bother? Because of, you think, because of this. Because people are I mean, some Iranians are fooled by it. That's the Iranians who go vote, for example. This is why every year when we have elections, our Persian channel, Atheist Republic's Persian channel, which the link is in the description, we go on overtime. Like, we put show after show after show explaining to the people who are considering voting how they are actually helping the regime by showing up in the lines to vote. They're helping with the propaganda of the regime to show to the world that we have democracy here. But more and more Iranians are realizing that this is fake. This is why the participation rate is being reduced year over year over year. The participation rate is reducing because people are realizing that this is fucking bullshit. But the reason why they bother is because it It has soft power. Okay, for the Islamic Republic, it brings them so much credibility around the world when it comes to soft power. To if they can convince the citizens around the world that they are actually a democracy, that's why they bother.
Wait,
Right.
let's go through the rest of this video, and then I have another very important question to ask you,
Okay.
Armin.
That
Okay.
they have a voice and their voices are heard. They're involved in the democratic process. Realities that we're not privy to living here and listening to the propaganda that we receive from very single-sided organisations with a specific agenda.
Organisers say the aim of the event was
So they see the press TV here, which is the Islamic Republic's propaganda arm in English, is they're here ready to basically take advantage of all of those investments they made to make it act like they are a democracy. All right. By the way, guys, we are actually in slowly moving to a different phase. So right now, the Iranian regime is a theocracy. Is slowly moving into being closer to a military dictatorship, away from a theocracy. So if that eventually happens completely, it's going to be a military dictatorship pretending to be a theocracy that is pretending to be a democracy. So it's going to have three layers to that. But yeah, go on, Susanna. That was the end of the
Yeah,
video.
so Armin, I have a very important question. So she's saying that in the Islamic Republic, women have an incredible place within society where, and she, in a different clip, she used the same propaganda about how women's education and holding jobs, blah, blah, blah. Where women have a voice and are involved in the democratic process. Armin, to what extent are women allowed to be part of the democratic process in Iran? Are women allowed to be elected representatives in Iran? Are women allowed to run for the presidency
President.
in Iran?
No, no, no. And also every year they promise that like the next cabinet is going to have women in it at least, even if there's no, for example, presidents cannot be women. It's in the law that the president cannot be a woman. And then but the thing is interestingly that every time they promise that, once they get elected, they instead of they brag about some of the cabinets having, I don't know, female secretaries or female helpers, and you don't actually see them actually having. I mean, so for example, the spokesperson for the president this time was a woman, and they were celebrating that, like, see, this is so progressive. And a lot of Iranian women hate that shit. They're like, fucking, like, that woman is basically, that is a spokesperson as a president, is betraying all other women in Iran. And guys, but here's the thing that is true: the position of women in Iran is very, very, very high. Okay. Sometimes even too high. Okay. But that's not because of the Islamic Republic. That's because of the Pahlavi dynasty that came before it. The Iranians look very, very highly upon women. Okay.
Here's a better way to
Uh,
put it to clarify what you're saying. The position of women is high within Iranian culture, but not within the culture
Culture.
of the Islamic Republic. It's the
Right.
people versus
Right.
the
Right.
government, to clarify.
Yes, and in fact, the Islamic Republic has tried to undo that culture that we achieved during the Pahlavi dynasty. Right, the position of women in Iran before the Pahlavi dynasty was worse than what it is right now in Afghanistan. Okay, this is why I say that Reza Shah and Mohammad Reza Shah are probably the two of the greatest feminists in world history. Okay, what they did for women in Iran is unmatched by, I don't know who could even top that. Like, and not, but it's unbelievable, like how they empowered Iranian women. And that is something that the Islamic Republic has constantly tried to undo, and they have been unsuccessful with it.
There's one thing that I
Yeah.
wanted to highlight here, which is actually a couple of things. So I'm just gonna just ramble and try to get it all out. What I find reprehensible about Senator Payman's statements is that she is a female elected representative representing a Western democracy that is saying this about the status of women in Iran. So this means a couple of things. One, what the Islamic Republic is going to do is go back and use these clips to go back to the Iranian people and validate their actions towards the Iranian people and say, look at you. Why are you so ungrateful? Why do you behave in such a way? Why do you reject us? Why are you so unruly? Why do you not appreciate our culture? This senator, this elected representative, this good Muslim woman, look at how she wears her hijab. She is telling you how good you have it. She is telling you to not believe all this propaganda. She knows the truth. Why can't you be more like her? I think it is disgusting that a female elected representative would say this stuff towards a system where a woman in her position cannot exist within the Islamic Republic. It's reprehensible. Secondly,
Susie, actually, oh yeah,
go
go ahead.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, don't forget what you're gonna
Yeah.
say, because I just wanted to add something to it. I would suspect that many of the Islamic Republic propaganda would actually avoid showing that she's a hijabi, because they would get more benefit out of it by just saying that it was an Australian senator, because they know Iranian people would trust Western politicians a lot more. Thinking a lot of Iranians were like, "Oh, this is an Australian," so
Mm,
that gives it credibility. But seeing that it's a hijabi Australian will give it less credibility to
yeah.
Iranian people. So
Well,
they
I was
would
just
try
thinking
to,
about their previous
yeah,
tactics of when female Western
yes,
politicians would come to Iran and observe the hijab and be like, "Look, these good Western female politicians observe the hijab when they're Iran. They know the right way to behave." Blah blah blah. Like they've used that kind of like rhetoric and reasoning in the past. They've used that to validate their actions in the past. Um, Second thing that I want to talk about is that this is this is one of the faces of the Muslim voting bloc within Australia. Senator Payman broke with her party. This is like so typical of what we're seeing across the world. We see this in the US with the uncommitted movement. You see this in the UK with they literally call themselves the Muslim vote. And then now we're seeing it here in Australia, where this is someone who is a representative of a party from the left. She was part of Labor. She broke with her party to cross the aisle to call for the recognition of a Palestinian state. And she has since parted ways with her party over this issue. You know what I mean? Like this is a face of this block where left-wing parties that have previously had this Muslim demographic within their fold are now having almost a fifth column within themselves where they're purposefully being undermined from within by this specific demographic on issues like the issue of recognition of Palestine, etc. So like we saw this with the uncommitted movement in the US. And the whole genocide Joe, killer Kamala, that kind of rhetoric heading into the past election. Um Thirdly, I think it is so disgusting for a woman who was born in Kabul, who fled Afghanistan, who received her education in Australia and rose from being a refugee to an elected official. That is such an incredible story and an incredible privilege to live in a country where you come as part of the fleeing masses and you rise to a level of being a face within the political body. That's an incredible privilege that is basically only guaranteed within Western liberal democracies. um and to turn face like this is disgusting. It's so disgusting. Your family didn't flee to Iran. Your family fled to Australia. Like it's she has spoken out against the treatment of women in Afghanistan. She what Senator Payman was called out, harshly called out on Twitter by Dr. Kylie Moore Gilbert. If you guys are unfamiliar, Dr. Kylie Moore Gilbert was what's the word I'm looking for? A hostage of the Iranian regime, where this doctor. She was going to Iran for an academic conference. They seized her, they kidnapped her as part of hostage diplomacy and held this Australian citizen as a hostage, accusing her of espionage. For 2 years, she was a hostage of the Iranian regime until only within the past couple years she was able to return home. Dr. Kylie Moore Gilbert, a victim of the Islamic Republic, is calling out Senator Payman in public, saying, "What the hell are you talking about, girl? You sat with me in front of testimonies in front of the Australian government regarding the abuse and atrocities committed by the Islamic Republic during the 2022 Women Life Freedom Movement. Why are you turning face? It's disgusting. It's so disgusting." And there were a huge flood of Iranian women all across social media, like rejecting everything she said, posting photos of themselves missing eyes, missing eyeballs, because they say, "I will give my eyes for the freedom of Iran," because they were shot out by IRGC forces being turned upon civilians. Saying, how dare you say this? Another I don't know if we want to get into this, but I don't know. I feel like the for public consumption, within the Iranian uh heartland, an Afghan senator living comfortably in the West is just not going to be perceived well, by people within Iran, like being lectured in that way. I just really don't think it's going to be perceived well. Um, so yeah, this and she came out and like kind of apologized and was like, "Oh, I didn't know that this was press TV." Da da da. Like when you see the flag of the Islamic Republic plastered all around this freaking room, what do you think is going on, you asshole?
But even if it wasn't press TV, her point was bullshit.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for saying this after we had protests with the main chant of "Zan Zindagi Azadi," woman. Like, are people in Iran chanting "Woman Life Freedom" because women are treated equally in Iran because there's no issues with women in, like, what? Why do you think that? Why do you think that the woman is part of the chant? I mean, woman, so woman life, we know because we are dealing with a death cult that values death over life, and Iranian people who want to live properly. We know freedom, why freedom is there, because Iranian people don't have the freedoms that they want. And why do you think woman is there? It's not because this is, it's not because is because the way women are. I mean, the rest of the chant, by the way, includes men as well, right? Mad mihan abadi. So let's not forget that. I mean, the second part of the chant was added because Iranian people wanted to make sure that they are not perceived as woke. Okay, like, we care about Iranian men. Okay, let's make it clear. And it's very interesting because the second part of the chant was added by Iranian women first, like the first video that came out of it, right? So the chant was "Woman Life Freedom," and the second part is "Mad Mihana," but it means men, nation, prosperity. So that they added, and the first video that came out of that was in the university. The men were shouting "Woman Life Freedom," and the women were responding to that chant with "Men, nation, prosperity." Okay, so it shows that this if the feminism that we have in Iran is first and second wave feminism, it's not like the woke kind feminism, right? But the reason why the woman was there is not because in Iran, like, women matter to us more than men. Is because the way that the government treats women has become a symbol of how the government mistreats everyone, right? And that's why the woman was there. But yeah, so I mean, it's amazing that you see so many people from Iran shouting "Woman Life Freedom," suggesting that there's a gender apartheid there. And I don't know, are you deaf? Are you blind? Are you not hearing the Iranian people? I don't understand.
It's so insulting. It's so insulting.
Right.
So I hope, Senator Payman, you're quite pleased with yourself with your words, your face, your presence further being used to exact, gender apartheid upon your sisters abroad. I'm sure you would not appreciate that if someone said that about the status of women in Afghanistan. Disgusting, disgusting shit.
Yeah. That's funny.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the rant I wanted to get out of my system.
Let's see
The
if there's any
the
oh,
reality that we don't hear about in Western propaganda. How many years have Iranian women literally be saying, like, it was literally a hashtag, like, let us speak. Let us speak. And that the point of that hashtag was literally to call out the fact that they're not allowed to speak about the oppression that they experience because of Islam. It was let us speak. Stop silencing us with accusations of being Islamophobic. Let us speak. It's oh my god. I
wait.
need to
So
serenity
so
now.
I disagree.
Serenity now.
So Semper, just to be clear, I agree with a lot of your comments, but I don't agree with this one. You're saying these women
No, I don't agree with
in
this.
Iran, or I mean, maybe she's talking about a specific woman, but if you're talking general terms, I disagree with you, because you're saying these women in Iran or Gaza are brainwashed into submission. That is slavery, not womanhood. Okay, I don't know about Gaza, but women in Iran are definitely not brainwashed, and they are definitely doing not submitting. Okay, if they're doing anything, is like it could what the very opposite of submission. If you see how the Iranian women, what they're doing against the regime in Iran, the word submission is the last thing that comes to your mind. Okay, so I just want to make sure I say that about the Iranian woman. But you want to read this comment?
Sana tweeted this as saying, as an Iranian woman who spent the first 23 years of her life under the Islamic Republic, I have neither the energy nor the patience to politely describe the way people, especially women, are treated in Islam. I don't have the capacity to lay out decades of evidence detailing, like, overall all the abuse. It's widely understood. Keep scrolling. Someone was responding to her, saying, no need to lay out decades of evidence to demonstrate what is obvious at a glance. Only the evil or the obtuse would try to argue otherwise. I'm inclined to agree.
Right.
So Drew Pavlov said, legitimately shocking. Australian Senator Fatima Payman speaks. Okay, no, so he's just recapping, and then he calls her a complete psychopath. And then this person responded, she is only fighting for Muslims and Islam, not Australians. And look, I've been following some of her statements about a lot of issues going on in Australia. Kind of inclined to agree. Yeah, so this person is also recapping. Can you scroll down a little bit more? Saying, this person responded saying she could prove her point by going to Tehran and walking around with her head uncovered, but I don't see her rushing off to do that.
So this is not gonna work, this line of reasoning, anymore, because in Iran, Iranian women have made it so difficult for the regime to enforce hijab laws. And this is not because the Iranian regime doesn't want to enforce hijab laws, but the Iranian women have managed to take over, their public spaces back in many areas by just refusing to wear the hijab. And actually, this is it's actually not as common as before to get arrested for um, having your head uncovered, right? So, but that's because the Iranian women refused to submit and fought back, not because the regime was trying to let go. Okay, it's just it has in many places in Iran, the hijab laws have become unenforceable because of the sheer number of people who just refuse to wear the hijab. So just wanted to correct that. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. We're still getting videos of women being attacked and abused and mistreated for not wearing the hijab.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that still happens. I'm just saying that if you go walk in Tehran, for example, or in Shiraz or Isfahan at the nights, you're going to see many hijabless women walking around. I mean, they might get abused and attacked at any time, but that's the risk they're willing to pay.
Yeah, or harassed.
Yeah. Or harassed.
Also, can you scroll down a little bit?
What the hell? What is this? Was that?
So this person is responding to this like Israeli Zionist guy on Twitter talking about this, like, yeah, whatever, but more importantly, dismantle Israel. Jesus Christ, can we care about more than one thing in this world at one time?
There's like I don't see. Oh wait, there's more. This guy's like, wait, like why are we changing the subject? Like, can we just all focus on God damn it, these people see everything in black and white.
And this person, I mean, this is fair enough, saying she should be spending her time concentrating on her electorate.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.